it's Claire. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about my secret weapon in terms of budgeting, and it is a yearly budget. So we're going to be going over why you need a yearly budget in order to achieve your personal finance goals, as well as how to create one. And I'm super excited to dive into this topic. But before we do, be sure to hit the like and be sure to hit that subscribe button because the YouTube algorithm needs it, and so do I. So if you've been budgeting for a while and you feel like you're never hitting the numbers that you need to hit and you're constantly spending more money than you need to, a yearly budget might be something that'll help you stay on track and stay motivated to stick to your budget. I love it because it's kind of like a map to my entire personal finance picture. I have these big, huge goals, like living off of 50% or less of my income. And then I also have these goals of putting about $20,000 on debt in a year. So I wouldn't be able to reach that if I wasn't keeping track of my progress in the whole picture of the whole year, because it's really hard to see how you're doing if every month you're adjusting your budget or every month you're going slightly over and you're not readjusting the numbers in the following month in order to make up for that. When I first started this budgeting journey, I didn't have a yearly budget. In fact, I had never even heard of one. But after my first year of budgeting, when I looked back at my numbers, yes, I did a good job in sticking to the budgets that I set for myself. But when it came to actually staying in line with only spending 50% of my income, as well as making headway on those goals that I had, I actually went over budget on my original yearly plan goals by almost $500 a month, which is $6,000 a year. And then I also spent about $10,000 on travel that I didn't even budget for because I did not have travel as a budget category, because in my mind, I wasn't spending money on travel every month, so why would I have that in my budget? But after looking at the full picture, I can see why I need to have travel as a budget item, whether it's to incorporate it as savings every month and to say I'm going to spend $10,000 on travel. That means I need to save this amount of money every month to cover the travel expenses for the year. The way that I see a yearly budget is it's that map, and then your monthly or bi-weekly budgets that you use every single day. Those are the stepping stones and the directions on the map in order to get to where you want to go. Before we dive into how to put together a yearly budget, I want to talk first about why I like a yearly budget. The first reason is that it helps me stay motivated. So when you have really big goals, whether it's paying off debt or whether it's saving a bunch of money or whether it's living off of half of your income because you want to retire early, those goals take a really long time to achieve. And being able to see the progress that you're making along the way is super motivating, which to me is really important, because motivation while you're on the debt-free journey or on the savings journey or on the retire early journey is really important, because it's such a long process and it's so easy to get bogged down thinking like, I have to do this for the next 10, 15, 20 years before I even make a huge dent on it. And so with the yearly budget, you can kind of see your progress as you go, because you're constantly updating your yearly budget at the end of a budgeting period, and you can see, look, I'm one step closer to putting all of my money, the money that I wanted to, on debt or in savings or whatever it is that you're working toward. In that same vein, a yearly budget is essential to staying on track. Like I said earlier, when I didn't have a yearly budget, I just kept overspending in certain categories and then never correcting my upcoming budgets to adjust for that overspending that I did in, say, entertainment or travel or whatever it is. When I did that, I would say I was spending $100 every month on entertainment, and then one month I spent $200. If my goal is to only spend $100 a month on average for the whole year on entertainment, then in order for me to achieve the upcoming months, I would have to reduce my spending in entertainment in order to achieve that full $1,200 per year on entertainment. I can't keep spending above that spending. I can't just spend $100 one month and then $200 the next month and then still hope to continue spending $100, because that's just not how math works. I would have to then adjust my numbers in hopes that I would still reach my goals on time and within the budget that I set for myself. I had to fix my hair. It's a disaster. It's a disaster today, but I had a goal of making this video, so we're doing it, whether or not my hair looks like a crazy person or not. I don't know if I'd call this fixed or not, but it looks less like I just put a toupee on the side of my head, so now it's just a messy bun. Anyway, the third reason that I think that yearly budgets are really important is that they factor in periodic expenses. So remember that almost $10,000 that I spent on travel because I couldn't figure out how to put it into my yearly budget or my monthly budget? that's where you put it into your yearly budget. So it gives you the full picture of what you're going to spend your money on in a year rather than just budgeting and hoping that you guessed correctly. Whereas like now you can look at it and say, okay, I put this much money for transportation, but am I not considering the oil change that I have to make, or the repairs that I'm going to have to do, or the Ubers that I'm going to have to take? The yearly budget takes a look at all of those things, even like credit card fees and things like that, when you don't necessarily know when they're going to come up or when they're just periodic. So that is why I love using yearly budgets. But let's dive into the brass tacks of how to create a yearly budget. So I'm going to be using some spreadsheets that are in Google. Anybody can use them. They are free spreadsheets, and I'll leave links to those templates below. If you do use those links, be sure to just make a copy of them and put them into your own drive. That way you're not working out of a budget that everybody can see, since I'm leaving the link below. But I'm going to screen share so that you can see what's happening. So first things first, you need to have a budget. So we're not going to discuss how to create a budget in this video. Instead, we're just going to be talking about how to create a yearly budget. So as you'll see over here, this is my bi-weekly budget. And let's say this is my first time creating a yearly budget. So we're just gonna go here and we're gonna make a copy. So we're just gonna call this yearly copy. All right, so we've got this beautiful bi-weekly budget, and what we're going to do is we're going to take a look and see, okay, hey, I have all of these different categories, but what am I missing? I maybe need like, what's going to happen in a year? Oh, I need donations in here. I've got that. We've got, let's add special occasions. This is I always spell special occasions wrong. I just did it twice. Which is like when people come into town, whatever. How about parking? Renters insurance. You're going to take a look at all of these and you're just going to see what are you missing for your yearly expenses. And then after you're done doing that, you're going to start adjusting these numbers. So groceries, I currently have $100 for every pay period. I do my budgets based off of a bi-weekly pay period. So I have to go in here and times that by 26. If you budget based off of a yearly schedule, then you'll have to go in here. So after you go through and you update those, we need to also anticipate what our yearly income is going to be. So whether if it's you're making that in your paycheck, whether you're getting in a side hustle income, or whether you're getting income from investments or property management or anything like that, you're just going to enter all that in here. So I'm just going to put $60,000. If you don't know how, then you're just going to multiply your paycheck by however many times you get paid in a year. After you're done doing this and updating all of your categories, the way that you're going to keep track of this is every time you have a bi-weekly budget like this one, there's a transaction tabs at the bottom. And what you're going to do is you're just going to copy and paste it into the transaction tab of your yearly budget. And then you can also, instead of putting in every single transaction, you can also just put the total for each category when you're finished. But you're also going to want to track your income over here as well. I also like to keep track of how many pay periods that I have had, so that I can very quickly reallocate funds based off of whether or not I'm over or under in a certain category. So for example, if I get paid 12 times a year and I need to keep track of what month I'm on, it's easy to do when you follow a calendar year, but since I don't follow a calendar year, I'm currently on a October to October calendar year, so it's hard for me to keep track sometimes. But I'll say like this is out of 13 budgets and these are my total right now. So every time you update this, you're going to go in and you're going to add, okay, well now I'm on my 14th budget. So I know that I only have 12 pay periods left. So the reason that this is important is if you go to one of your categories down here and you realize, oh, I only have $1,000 left in groceries and I have 12 more or 14 more or however many more budgeting periods left for the year, all you're going to do is you're going to see that leftover money over in the difference category, and you're going to take that number and divide it by however many budgeting periods you have left. That is now your new number for what your goal should be for each of your monthly budget period. So that's pretty much it. At the end of every period that you have a new budget, you're just going to dump all of your transactions or the total categories for each one and put it into that yearly budget so that you can see how your totals are changing. It's a really great way to see if you're overspending in a certain category, and it's also a nice way of redirecting the ship if you're going off course. So I definitely like using one. I feel like it's been a huge game changer in the way that I budget and also in how I am progressing on my goals. So check it out, try it. If it's something that you enjoy doing, or if you have questions, put some comments in below and I'll be sure to answer any of them or correct anything in this video that needs a little bit of clarification. So thanks for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm, and thank you as always for watching.